Welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the latest Linux gaming news, reviews, how-tos, and most importantly, whatever the hell else we come up with. This week, the Steam Summer Sale is almost here. That's right, the release date has been leaked, and Dead Island 2. Turns out it's still alive, which makes me wonder, am I the only one that forgot it was in development?
Oh no, there goes Neo Tokyo. Go Tetsuo! And we get a leak about a 16-core part, although the dripping might just be from the melted PCB.
Steam now tells you why games are relevant to you. Hopefully it's just another step on the way to proper store practices from Valve, and Mesa brings performance where it's most needed. No, not Unity games. Feral ports.
Ben Stone here at LGC Actual, switching the bits, doing the Nightmare Fuel all under Linux. It is quite awesome, joined by the man up north, one massive Svang from Canadiasville.
I don't have Dorito dust on my fingers. This is a good sign.
Lies. And all the way from Space Portugal with this penguin, that is one Pedro Mateus.
I am sitting in a gaming chair, so...
Yeah.
Shut up.
If you look at it hard enough, you will find the Cheeto dust. And joining us in Chat Realm Dynamic and in the Campagan room in our Discord... Yes, that's the worst of the worst, the trolliest of trolls. Our beautiful live audience helping us form that last little bit known as Cocaine Voltron. Before we get started, we'd like to see what's going on in each other's life organs. Me, not a whole lot. I ordered a thing from China. It came in, and it was called the Electronic Gadget Replacement Electronic Parts, and it was basically my We Get It Bro, you Vapotron 9000 thing I ordered from China. The postal human, she kind of looked at me and was like, what the fuck did you order this time? Into that story, Jay Baby, what's up?
I mean, I think you ordered it from the electronic tautology shop of electronics, but yeah. that's just me. I mean, I got something in the mail too. It's a cup without a handle. I lead a very exciting life, you guys. Just at the edge of what's possible. At any
Burn
time.
your fingers, Omatic from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Well, over here, I really didn't do much this week, which was different for a change.
You don't do much any week, Pedro. But you know who does do stuff week after week after week? Well, most of that is decomposing. It is some other things. It's the Steam
Linux
Update of the week. Yep. The Steam store, I guess Valve has been trying to move in a direction where they're more open about what they do with the store itself, and they want to share.
They're trying to move into a direction where they get more money out of you, Pedro.
Yes, that too. That is always the end goal. But since some people were refusing to give them money because, I go to the Steam store and all I see is that shovelware crap, well, Valve doesn't want you to see all that crap anymore if it doesn't interest you. So if you are seeing shovelware crap show up on your front page, you can click on it, see why that game was actually recommended to you. They now have a little box whenever you go to a game or a bit of the, say, the Steam controller page or the Steam Link page, why that would be relevant to you. How many of your friends have it? How many of your friends have played it recently? Do the user reviews say it's very positive or very negative? Did any of your friends on Steam actually write a review and did they say they like it or
okay,
they
right
didn't
there,
like it?
that really sounds like a messed up metric because usually a perfect case in point, the three of us, the stuff that we're interested in outside of the show, radically different. Probably not things I'm a bit...
Yeah.
I mean, they're hoping that some friends actually play the same games and don't actually hate each other and are, what's that word again? Actually friends.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, but...
So, yeah, you get... So, if you've been to the Steam store over the past couple of days, you will have seen that box on the right side. That's got the similar... It's, this game here is similar to a couple other games you played. User reviews say it's positive, very positive, or overwhelmingly positive, whatever. If you have any curators, if you follow any curators, you should. LinuxGameCast Weekly has a curation page. If that curator recommends the game, it'll also show up there. And, of course, the friends things.
Now, the other thing that the article goes into is how their black box algorithm wasn't generating the sales that they wanted to, which, I mean, it's almost like if you tell people what they want and don't actually get feedback from them, they won't actually buy things. And plus now you can do the user feedback thing, so if you don't want to see more games, you can click the don't show me any of this anymore. That way you get more Hello Kitty Island Adventure and less Vendetta Curse of the Raven's Cry.
This is definitely a step in the right direction, and I guess Valve got tired of people complaining about seeing tons of shovelware on the front page, and they basically did the minimum amount of effort thing to let people have a glimpse of why.
I think it's just more Valve wants people to spend more money on games, and they need to find a way to dangle that carrot in front of people so that they'll actually shovel money into Gay Ben's nipples.
Speaking of shoveling,
of that,
yeah, right into those nipples, man. Those areolas. Check it out. Steam Summer Sale 2017 release date. Keep in mind, everyone, this post is breaking Steam's note. Let's just go ahead and click on it anyway.
Oh no, you're breaking the law, then.
Oh no. Steam Summer Sale, June 22nd, 2017, 9:50 a.m. Pacific through July 5th, 10:05 a.m. My first thought with this summer sale, okay, it leaked. However, that happens like it does every year.
Translation thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be learning about. What do you think, Jay Baby? They're going to be learning about the new gifting policies that we discussed last week when they start buying, right?
For sure. But that's going to be really only the case if a bunch of 4-packs go on sale for some really popular games, a la the Rocket Legs or the. Well, I mean, like you can't find a Steam sale now where Left 4 Dead is less than $1.
Now I'm really curious because I normally during a sale will pick up a 4-pack of Left 4 Dead 2 and hold on to it and kind of dole it out over the.
Can't do that no more.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting to the point now that the influx of new good games coming in is not enough to justify all these bulk purchases with the Steam summer sales. I know this has been happening for a while, at least for me specifically, where you go and, oh, hey, these are on sale, already on this. So this was more expensive last year, but I already own it. I mean, I'm at this point, the only two games I'm actually interested in seeing go on sale are Tyranny and the re-release of Planescape Torment, because Beamdog didn't send us.
The only thing I'm waiting for is maybe if Dying Light goes 90% off, maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah, no, Dying Light is that one game that I'm just waiting for it to drop like below $20, because let's face it, that's how much that game is worth. But no, they keep selling it for $40. So no, but yeah, if it does drop below that much, I will probably pick it up. Yes.
Yeah, but speaking of games that people like to buy 4-packs for, there's some new Rocket League stuff coming out. This is version 1.34. They have a new Neo Tokyo level that better have a goddamn giant flesh monstrosity in the background.
They took away. Oh man, they've got Neo Tokyo, the one map that you knew the fuckery was imminent as soon as you started, and it was always good to randomly get that fuckery.
Well, I mean, you get it back because now the old Neo Tokyo is under the name Tokyo Underpass, and there's some new crate stuff too. So come on, kids, grab your parents' credit card and start making some charges for some keys.
They also have a new battle car, and yes, Neo Tokyo went away because people hated the whole slope floor that they had, but those side slopes are now gone, so you can have just a regular arena with the whole Neo Tokyo futuristic shebang.
I think a lot of people genuinely disliked Neo Tokyo, but I think a lot of the hate, unfortunately, was it just became the popular thing to hate, because I enjoyed having that break where I was just screaming expletive deleted for 5 minutes. And it was a good, palate cleanser to go back to a regular map, but it's still kind of there. Unlike DLC in Payday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Talk about a little too late, but that's right. We have an Ultimate Edition, and yeah, full Payday 2 experience, all the content, free and paid. So they're really pissing off the people with, $800 worth of DLC. In one massive bundle. Yeah, it's coming on June 8th, and currently in all DLC, May 10th to June 8th, 85%. They're going to make it wicked cheap just to make them that extra bit pissed. And I don't know what the hell an Ethan and Gila are, but the characters...
They're the people from H3H3. Yeah, I don't know why you'd want to play them in Payday, but these guys want to support them in their YouTube videos, so I guess it's still going to... Here's the thing, though. It's still going to require a 4 gigabyte download every other day or every other minute, depending on when they release updates. And they're probably going to throw some more DLC on top of it. I don't know at this point. I keep Payday uninstalled, much like you, Ben, because I'm tired of the constant updates and their inability to release incremental updates.
That's definitely seems like it has to be something with their engine or something. It's just not designed around that. But all I'm hearing with this, everything going wicked cheap, everything being included. Again, this is too little, too late for Payday 2. But Pedro, riddle me this: all I'm really hearing off in the distance is, here comes Payday 3.
Yeah,
they say it at the bottom of the
exactly
article,
what they're paving the floor for. It's because this is usually what happens. You want to release a new game, you want people that buy that new game, you make the old games, you release a Game of the Year edition that includes all the DLCs, you include a Gold edition, whatever you want to call it. In this case, it's Payday 2 Ultimate Edition. Now, I railed on Payday 2 a lot because the first option in the main menu was a frickin' ad for DLC. The last option in the main menu was a frickin' ad for DLC. The bottom left corner of the main menu was a marquee type scroller.
Oh, then you can open up your weapons menu where it was 90% give us money. And
yep, precisely. Yeah. So I guess it's a good thing, but like you guys already said, too little, too late.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Indeed, but you know, it's just on time. Some old games that are getting some brand new life thanks to our friends, the sexy
Mr.
Sometimes sexuality confusing Mr. Ethan Lee.
Yes, very, very sexy. I mean, well, in all fairness, Ethan Lee is a good-looking man, and he does awesome jobs bringing old XNA games to Linux and Mac and Windows. If that happens to be your bag, why the hell are you watching a Linux gaming podcast? But whatever. Hi. You can now get Charlie Murder and the Dishwasher Vampire Smile from Ska Studios. If that name sounds familiar, you probably have been watching my Salt and Sanctuary streams lately, because these are the exact same people. It's Michelle and her brother James Silva. I'm not entirely sure of his name, but whatever the case, it's the two of them made these earlier games, Charlie Murder and The Dishwasher. Charlie Murder is from 2013, and The Dishwasher Vampire Smile is from 2011, and they were released originally on the Xbox 360 for the Live Arcade. But since they're XNA, Mr. Flibbertigibbet Bo has been able to breathe new life into these games by bringing them over to current platforms.
By dropping them into a directory and running make, which is kind of brilliant on Ethan's part.
Yeah. He says he's got some ports down to about 60 seconds, but it wasn't the case with these, because he actually had the source code for both of these games, or at least for Charlie Murder, as he mentioned on Twitter, for over 3 months. So he did more stuff in the background than just dropping in FNA and replacing XNA. So it's good.
One of the cool things he did, though, was there's the beta FNA Steamworks integration library that he integrated. So, because these are multiplayer games, so now you can join through the Steam overlay, which is pretty convenient. And it's really annoying when games don't have that support.
Definitely with Charlie Murder. I can't speak to the other one. We got some keys for Charlie Murder, so I decided to play around a little bit with it. Really fun. We're probably going to be playing at least 15-20 minutes of that in the after shows, and so if you have that, it's pretty small. It's like 300 megajoules to download. You might want to grab a copy. It's great. I like the art style. It reminds me of Pedro's Tuesday's Salt and Sanctuary, but the game itself,
you can tell,
completely different. But unfortunately, Charlie Murder does not know how to quit me. And I mean that seriously, because it doesn't close when you close the game. It stays running in the background, so you have to low eye on the damn thing. But still fun.
Charlie murdered my finger, man.
Hey, is this real life? Hey, look, survival zombies and the inverted evolution. Okay, I just wanted to throw this in. This showed up early this week in the show notes, just because you do pray and spray, right? You never know if it's going to be a big week and you need some filler content. Best thing we was like, oh, look, stock Unity assets all over the place. Could this be the sequel to Pump Action Captain? And it was like, no, it looks too good. But
It's not done in Leadworks.
Right. And it's $2.99. I was like, okay, this is a thing. It came out on May 8th, regularly $4.99. Then I scrolled down to the
Dinosaur hunts?
Special edition. Look at all of the 14 items. A lot of these are different games with just the same fucking game, just different texture pack.
That's kind of brilliant. I like how this card art up at the top, if you scroll up, has nothing to do with the game. It looks like some sort of skeleton Viking zombie wizard thing.
Right.
And this looks like some post-apocalyptic shooter based on all of the screenshots. I don't know what they were kind of hoping. What is this, 1997, where you have like the cover for Phalanx that's like some hillbilly with a banjo and it's a shoot 'em up?
I don't know. Just in case anybody was. Right, I was just impressed by the amount of shovelware that, who do we got here? Racing Bros Studio would have never expected it from a title like that.
Bro, do you even race?
I am just saying, man. That's the thing. Be warned. Stay away from it.
All right,
I mean, it's pretty cheap.
Yes,
you know what else is really cheap?
Not unlike your mom.
Listen, chlamydia is cheap. Doesn't mean you want it.
Indeed. Coming up next, NVIDIA has some new drivers, AMD has some new drivers, and a CPU that will probably melt through your computer and the floor and possibly the Earth's crust itself.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I don't have some fancy new lighting, but you guys, you lot, you saw that Amazon wish list that we have on LinuxGameCast /support, and you decided to send it to us. So thank you. Thank you very much. Now let's get down with the whoring.
The beacons have been lit. Chat Realm calls for aid, and they can call for aid all over the place, all over your face and neck. They go into patreon.com/LinuxGameCast. Don't go to LinuxGameCast.com/Patreon. That page is horrifying and will mentally scar you for life. We got 102 people forking out $178 a month or an episode. If we can get it up to 200, you guys get to see me play Serious Sam 3, aka the bad one. But we got some lovely people to thank who are supporting us week after week after week, enabling this nightmare fuel. If you head on over to linuxgamecast.com/ and click on the support the chosen button, you can see the method to which our latest donor, Mr. Anthony Botcha, Sharpie in Chat Realm, who is being a good mensch and giving us money as opposed to saving up for that house he wants to buy. Fiscally responsible adult, ladies and gentlemen. One of my best friends, and yeah, he makes bad financial decisions. So good on you for that. We did get some lights. What paid for that? Was that the Magic Internet money, or was that that was just the wish list?
The wish list. It came with some, I think one of the perpetrators' names was Steve, but I don't have perfect information. It didn't come with a card, but I think we know who to blame and who's responsible for that. This is one. There's another one over here. It is currently lighting. I'm still playing around with them. But these will be around for a long, long time. But yeah, throw some, if you like what we do, if you're sitting back relaxing, this is what I do, with anything that I back on Patreon, or I kick in my one-time donations and all that. If you like it, think about supporting it. We don't do the commercials and all that, and we would like to do so much more. Everything on that wish list is nuts and bolts, low-cost MacGyver stuff that we want to do more shit with. Amazon links. Hey, I want to thank everyone. I kind of checked that out. We don't really get a whole lot of information from that, but if you use that affiliate link when you buy stuff, that's been kind of adding up to not insignificant amount of wet, stinky cashes. Thanks for that. Thanks for everyone in Chatroom who's Patreons. And the Patreon stuff, there's a bunch of cool, wicked goals in there. You even get access to an extra hour of LGC Weekly every week that is a bit more mental than this. You never know. But let's get into it.
Indeed,
Drivers.
And in true LGC tradition, we start off with the drivers. Yep. NVIDIA released the 381.22 drivers on the 9th, and it fixes the issues I was having with the Talos Principle and Mad Max in Vulkan segfaulting. Now, I did have a look at the release highlights that they have on the release page, and it doesn't seem to mention anything that would affect me directly. So, and, considering that this driver actually fixes my issues, guess the issue wasn't entirely on my end.
No, there's definitely some things we noticed. Hey, I installed them. They worked. I didn't think twice about them. I wasn't having any glaring issues. Pedro was. But, Pedro, you ran the our favorite benchmarking engine called Talos Principle.
Yes.
And I noticed you were posting in our Discord chat, and you were getting like 200 FERPs on that.
Yep.
And I was getting like maybe 128, 130. I reran it with these drivers, 150.
Yeah, no, they did some improvement with the Vulkan version, but of course it's NVIDIA, so they don't mention everything that they did in the driver release notes.
No, that you got to go to Aaron Plattner's post on devtalk.nvidia.com if you want that. They include a bunch more updates with this driver, including a bunch with Prime Sync. So if you're on mobile and you want to maintain your stable refresh rate with your external GPU, then you can now. It works. I installed it on the laptop. I haven't tested it all that much. Like Ben, it works. It does,
and so
it allows me to log into XFCE. That's it. Good job, guys.
And so Mir can shut the hell up about it. There was also an update to the old 375 long-lived branch last week, which we didn't cover because honestly, I didn't even hear about it. And version 375.66 brings most of the same stuff that this driver does to the old long-lived branch, as well as the 1080 Ti and Titan XP support. So there you go, Mir.
But, if you have an AMD card, you can rejoice as well because Mesa has a new delivery for you.
Oh, yeah. 17.1.0 is the latest roundup of all the Mesa patches, and this version comes with OpenGL 4.2 support for Intel Ivy Bridge chips, which basically says, oh, you have an old Intel Ivy Bridge CPU and you don't have a dedicated video card? Well, chances are you can get at least most of the games on Steam to start. Playing them, now that's a whole different issue. You also get RAD-V, which is now fully compliant with the Vulkan conformance test suite. Yeah, the Vulkan conformance test suite from the Kronos group. It is the shortest lived driver to ever attain that. Even AMD's old FGL-RX took several months to fully comply with it. RAD-V.
And it's based on their technology too. That's the stupid thing.
Yeah.
You'd think they would get that shit together, but yeah.
Yeah, the people working on RAD-V managed to do a better job than AMD themselves, go figure. There's also some shader compilation performance improvements by caching some of the shared bits on disk, and if you have 25 commits or more in the Mesa State Tracker, you get all of the ported Feral games for free, so it's a good time to be an open source driver guy. And speaking of Feral, Feral games have a significant performance improvement according to this post. Now, that brings up a question. Are they using the D3D9 state tracker in Mesa to alleviate the indirect X overhead?
I don't think so. I don't think IndirectX is transparent enough to even do that, considering it's a compile time translation layer.
Yeah.
But, it speaks to the fact that having the driver source available is way better than what NVIDIA GameWorks ends up doing, because now they can actually submit driver patches and understand how the driver works to make their engines a little more conformant with it. Unfortunately, the only benchmarks we have for these new awesome Feral performance games are from our best buddy Michael Larrable at that one website that we're not going to plug. So I'm interested to see if some of you guys, I'm looking at you, Monster Cameron, have a fancy AMD video card. You should maybe run some Talos benchmarks and post them in chat room. See how that turns out. Or not Talos, Mad Max benchmarks. Mad Max Vulkan benchmarks.
Yes.
That's the one.
With Mesa. Okay.
With Mesa. Well, I don't think you could even run it with FGL-RX. But anyways, my god, I want it. I want it so bad, you guys. This is from WCCF Tech. Links to all this stuff in our show notes. We apparently have some new Ryzen CPUs on the way. These are the 16, 12, and 14 core, 24, 30, 28, and 32 thread models. What are they calling it these days? I don't have the window open right now.
Whitehaven.
Whitehaven, the racist haven. They're going to be clocked at around 3.66, which makes sense given the core density. they're going to be using an entirely new socket because these CPUs are going to be so physically large that they cannot actually fit in the existing AM3 Plus socket. They have some leaked specs. Apparently, they're going to be coming out in the middle of the year, mid 2017. They don't know what the TDP is. My guess is they've updated that. It's going to be 180 watt TDP max. Earlier in the week, they said unknown to be.
Yeah,
determined.
I was definitely thinking about that and looking at that. Yeah, it's going to be 2 of the 8 core modules in the same package. Giggity. Yeah, put it in my veins. But as soon as I heard, new socket and enthusiast, almost agreed with Stratters. That's going to be priced out of even here doing what we're doing with all this crazy nightmare fuel on the Linuxes. Like that'd be overkill for what we'd need. But
it's called future proofing then.
Right. They did leak today the future roadmap for 2018 and beyond. And I kid you not, their enterprise parts, the newer chips, are going to be called Starship.
Mm-hmm.
Is the code name.
Jefferson Starship?
So they're going to be the Starship Enterprise processors.
We built this city on silicon that we've tricked into thinking. But, but speaking about the price, I'm wondering how much Martin Wimpress is willing to pay in terms of the iron price to get some more Ubuntu Mate support on the Linux GameCast. But going back
that
to...
would be nice. Now, there is one thing that it uses a new socket, and they're also changing a little something else in the chip. Namely, you don't get the pins on the chip anymore like you used to get with AMD processors. Now they're doing the Intel LGA thing where the pins are actually on the motherboard.
Now remember, if you're going to be installing a CPU with that, you got to make sure to make sure that on the motherboard you have evenly spread.
Yeah, you need to spread the heat motion properly.
You have to spread it in between the pins. Make sure that you have a nice, good seal.
I know the motherboard manufacturers are like in stereo because the main reason
it's like, seriously?
Right, because then it puts all the bin pending. It's kind of miserable because new CPU, not that big a deal. Ripping out a Mobo because you broke a pin, that's a whole different bottle of nightmare fuel. But Farrell's back at this teasing thing.
Oh, yes, they are. So, earlier in the week, they went to Twitter and said, "Sparks fly from the Feral Raider as it splutters fitfully to life." Oh, it's nothing, just a penguin taking flight. And if you went to the radar and you tracked down the new blip, it was just a teeny tiny version of that cover of Samurai Penguin. Now, Samurai Penguin, we had already been speculating when they released the Made to Wade blip on the radar earlier that might have been that might be Shadow Warrior 2 or Shogun 2. Now you get Samurai Penguin, and I'm just prepared to say, yeah, this is probably Shogun 2 Total War. Now, as much as I would like to entertain the possibility of this being near a tomato, it's Square Enix Japan still hasn't okayed a Linux port at all. It's all of the stuff we've seen from Square Enix is from the US variant department.
I'm calling this Final Fantasy confirmed.
If it were Final Fantasy, they'd be teasing like noodle cups or fishing or selfie sticks or something like that. This is just the feral fanwankery thing. I was kind of indifferent to it at first, but I think I'm on Ben's side now. It's just really fucking stupid. Announce your games, Feral. People will get excited regardless, whether they have to pick apart evidence or not.
What's really going to blow my mind is, I kind of feel it in my gut organ, that it's going to be Shogun, another Total War game. Are these things genuinely selling enough to keep on making them?
I think they have the contract, and I think they have the engine ported, so that they can pretty much fart these out with relatively, Well, I don't want to say high quality because the Total Snore stuff we've reviewed has been kind of middling at best.
And it's Sega, and it's not like they're doing anything else with their time lately, so might as well target as many markets as possible.
You know what? Maybe we're getting Sonic, the latest Sonic game on Linux. That would be a bit of a twist.
No, but we might be getting Dawn of War 3, and that I'm looking forward to.
Oh no, we're definitely getting Dawn of War 3. All the Warhammer releases so far have been released with Linux ports, with the exception of Battlefleet Gothic, which was a little sad because I was looking forward to that, but. If you want to not pay money for games, or not pay a lot of money for games, you can go to the Humble Bundle and maybe find one game that you're interested in. Speedrunners. This is the Humble Tiny Bundle. They have a pay-what-you-want thing for various Tiny Build published games. They got Divided by Sheep, Road to Ballhalla, which is now my new Viking metal band. I'm calling it that now. No Time to Explain Remastered, Speedrunners. If you pay $7, you get Party Hard, Final Station, Cluster Truck, Guts and Glory, and Punch Club Deluxe. And if you're dumb enough to pay $15 for a Humble Bundle, you can get the Final Station, the Only Traitor DLC. I don't even know what that's about. Oh, you do get Final Station, the other one, and Streets of Rogue. And
but wait,
do you want to pay $40? Do you think that you have the money to piss away?
Yeah. Dude, you know what you get if you pay those $40? A fucking pre-order. I'm not even joking. You get the pre-order for a game that is Windows only. What the fuck?
Listen. People are obsessed with theory crafting about how Hello Neighbor, and until there is a mod that replaces the creepy rapist murderer neighbor with Ned Flanders, I am not interested.
I don't know. Outside of that, Streets of Rogue, good game at the $15 level. That was fun. They did a free demo of that. I played it for a bit. Party Hard, not really my dice. Punch Club, some people seem to like that. Speedrunners, pay what you want. Pick that up. Do yourself a favor. You will have a good time. But Dead Island 2 is still alive. Claims Deep Silver... yeah, man. Not a whole lot of a story here from Eurogamer, all this business in our show notes, naturally. I'm like, hey, man, it's in development at Sumo Digital. We are excited by the progress the team's making. It was Deep Silver's most successful IP. When we're ready to share more information, we will, which I retorted, wait, you guys are making part 2 to that? Huh. If we do get actual Dead Island 2, I wonder which intern they're going to get in 2017 or possibly 2018 to provide the Linux port.
I don't know. I don't think they'll even go so far as to hire an intern. They might just farm it out to our good pals at Virtual Programming, those wonderful human beings who should not fall into a spike pit and die horribly. But yeah, Deep Silver has done and drunk the Eon Kool-Aid, at least for the Saints Row games. I hope that they actually put out a native Linux port, maybe with some, functional network support so that we can actually play Dead Island 2 multiplayer. That would be nice. Maybe.
Yeah, but after the whole slap fight between Techland, the developers of Dead Island, and Deep Silver, over who would get to support the definitive edition, I wonder who's going to be developing this. Because I'm pretty sure Techland just pooped the bed with that one.
If it's the same result, then nobody will be responsible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The definitive edition was good if they could figure out how to multiplayer, bro. Because that shit just
that
work.
Would be nice.
Yeah, we love to have want to put that in our gaming rotation to get everybody in, but we have genuinely, no lie, spent hours trying to get that to connect with.
On tape too. We have the footage.
Right.
It's legit footage.
With multiple different people. It was the three of us and Strider at one point and just trying. It's like, can you connect to me? Can I connect to you? Come on.
Okay.
Well, according to Strider, it's Sumo Digital, so we'll put that in. But Square Enix pulls out of the box. Giggity. No, this is from what website is this? I just closed the tab. This is from Gematsu. Apparently, Square Enix is withdrawing their support from IO Interactive. The fine folks that brought us the Windows version of Hitman Feral provided the port for the Linux and Mac versions. Well, I guess there was no Mac version because they don't have a computer that can run the game.
Run it, yeah.
But apparently, Square Enix is letting this go, and they're standing to lose 59 million Canadian dollars for this loss. They have some billion yen that's entirely useless because yen is 1 yen is 1 penny, despite the fact that they actually made money last fiscal year. Perhaps someone will pick up the reins, or maybe garrots of the Hitman series, and maybe they'll farm that out to Feral, but it doesn't really look good for the future of our favorite bald assassin / movie subjects.
Kind of makes me wonder exactly what's going on with that, because digging around in Steam Spy, apparently, Hitmango, whatever you want to call it, sold about plus minus 630,000 copies, which was just slightly under Deus Ex, and that wasn't gangbusters, Deus Ex wasn't, but I mean, it still sold pretty well for being what it was, but hopefully,
for a AAA budget.
Hopefully, I'm just going to keep saying that till I finish my sentence. Hopefully, all day, baby, all day. This is going to be the death nail for the episodic bullshit they pulled with Hitman.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, we looked out, and one of the fringe benefits of being a Linux gamer is we get the ports late. So when it comes to these episodic games, we just get the giant dump of all the episodes, so we can binge through them. It's
yeah, for us, it's great because most of the Linux community, they're going to buy the game as soon as it's available on Linux. But the way that they handled the release of this game is like, oh, here's episode 1, and then 2 months go by. Now there's episode 2. The law of diminishing returns. About half of the people that bought the first episode bought the second episode. So
still a better love story than Half-Life. At least they released episode 3.
Everyone's still clamoring for episode 3 on that, but yeah. Now, I do wonder, because Hitman does have a couple of online features, limited as they may be, but it does. So I wonder who's footing the bill for the server for those online features.
Well, that makes it gets very curious because when Hitman first launched on that Windows thing, even with those limited online features that you can basically never use for anything and fucking all, the game would not run unless it was on 24/7.
Yes, but that's not the case in Linux. And people have said that, no, you can play the game completely offline. It would just use a different save slot. You would get an online save slot that would get synced through Steam and through everything else, and an offline save slot that you would just have locally. Makes sense,
those poor Windows users needing to be tied to an internet connection. I don't feel bad for them in the least.
But yeah, it remains to be seen what will happen to that, albeit limited functionality, once this goes through.
Hopefully they don't just make Hitman abandonware and will release an offline-only patch. But do you love using MS Paint or Paint.net or GIMP? Do you want to make a skin for a Wipeout clone? Well, here's your chance. Graviator, it doesn't matter. They have a skin contest out. You can use 3 colors. They give you the Blender template for the model that they're using. You can submit it. The contest ends June 30th, 11:59 Central Standard Time. So that's definitely a thing. M. Foxdog included this in the show notes. So he paid for access to that, so he gets to do it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Foxy seems to have a raging clue for this particular game, which they're doing a Kickstarter. I think it's still going, and they have a demo, which is really the only reason we're talking about it. Okay. I guess we could paint something. Get creative. I guess we have.
I may or may not have downloaded the templates and may or may not have already started fuzzing with them.
Dicks everywhere. It's gonna be
no dicks. I was genuinely trying to make my thing because I was a big fan of Wipeout 2097. So yeah, we'll see if I can be asked to finish it. But yeah.
Is it just brown? Does it look like the Portuguese drone that gets lost in the ocean?
No, it looks like the Piranha ship. If you played 2097 and you unlock the Piranha ship, that's what it looks like.
So that cease and desist is coming in 3. Ryan C. Gordon has a Patreon. Tell us about it, Ben.
Hey, man. Icky Butts, Ryan C. Ickulus, you know him. He's like, hey, man, my name's Ryan. You might know him. Never heard of you, man. Tell me about it. His full-time job is porting games to basically Linux. That's pretty cool. He also does weird, crazy, bizarre bullshit like, oh, let's make Unreal run in a web browser. That's great. And at one point, this man was the Linux game industry. Yeah.
Yep.
He's got a Patreon. He's like, hey, you want to help out? Because, you know, just go help him out. This is SDL2, all right? That's Iggybots right there. That's some of the it's the reason you can pick up your controller and make the things work. And that's FNA uses it. Feral uses it. Unity's about got their shit together and started using it.
Unreal uses it.
Yeah.
UE.
Yep.
UE4 does. And hey, if he gets to that $500 a month goal, he'll actually release some documentation for SDL2. Won't that be terrific? Yeah,
I mean, he himself says that while SDL 1.2 had a lot of documentation built over the years, no such love was ever brought to SDL 2. And so, yeah, please get him to 500. That would be nice to have.
No. What I like is if someone wants to give him $100, you can actively stalk Mr. G Money here. So I smell a new LGC Patreon.
That could definitely be a thing. I need to send old Ryan a message because if he gets to that, I'll drive because he lives up the road. Effectively, I'll drive up there and we'll film ourselves making grilled cheese sandwiches. I'll give you my word on that. So.
Mayo, tons.
Now, will you actually eat them then? Because that's all I'm interested.
Fuck a duck, no.
All right, folks, we gotta hold them down and cram grilled cheese sandwiches.
Vegan cheese. Get some vegan cheese so Ben can eat them.
No. This is gonna be Kraft single slices. So it's not actually cheese. It's cheese food product. I think that fits Ben's needs. But anyways, coming up next, we don't want to talk about that weak ass East Side bullshit. We're talking about the West Side. Yo, I'm so white doing this. I'm gonna get shot. Wiggity whack, y'all. Word up. It's Word to the West, developed by Rain Games, developed on the Unity engine, priced at about 20 of your local currency of choice. What is it? Word to the West is a pulpy, cartoony, top-down action-adventure game inspired by European adventure comics. Take control of 4 unique characters: Lumina the Teslamancer, Canas the Orphan, Miss Terry the Mindbender, and the gloriously mustachioed strongman Lord Clonington, each with their own motivation, skills, interweaving storylines as they seek to escape the dark shadow of an ancient prophecy. All right, well, it's facing the CHAIRQUISITION. They sent us some keys, so we're gonna review it. So let's face the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means nipples. My lightning is shooting out of my nipples. That's how excited I am. We also got our categories of doom, mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So, Ben, how did World to the West work?
Well, world to your mother. How did it work on the Ubuntu 1604 LTS? Running an AMD 8150 powered by 980 NVIDIA, displayed at UHD. Didn't try it on this game. It is a Unity title, played it at 1080p. No glaring issues in launching and running, maintaining a solid 60 FERPs at 1080. Good on that. It could use some love in the anti-aliasing department. However, if this game was on a cartridge, it would have been recalled because bugs. Bugs everywhere. I mean, they're plentiful and vast, and you will encounter them no matter who you are. Even Strider would find them easily. And I'm not going to call any particular bug game breaking, but they were definitely 100% attention breaking. They will take you out of the game. Like getting permanently stuck under the ground after digging a hole. You can't come back up. Then you got to save point that it's going to load you back 15 minutes ago. That's kind of tough to go through. And because of that, you're only going to get 3.
Yeah, there are some issues with this game. We'll get into that a little bit later. The one glaring one, though, is that if you're playing this with a non-XPad controller, you're going to have a bad time. And yeah, there are bugs everywhere. The game will just kind of stop working at points. Fortunately, you can reload. And fortunately, it's Unity, so if it gets too bad, you can always give it the old Alt F4 nerve pinch. So on Fedora 24 64-bit, the i7 6700K GTX 980, running this at UHD once you cut off VSync, and then it runs above 60 FPS. Sometimes, sort of. You get 3 chairs.
Yeah, no, over here, you can totally tell it's a Unity game because it starts on the wrong screen, and the first thing you see is that dark blue screen of nothingness. Thankfully, it seems to remember which monitor is the right one after you just move the window to the right monitor to say, no, stay. And even though the options menu says that it's the resolution is 3840 by 1080, it actually remembers that it's just regular 1920 by 1080. So for me, for once, for a Unity game on the Ubuntu Mate 1604 with the FX8370E and the GTX 1080, it gets 4 chairs.
All right, well, that's 3 chairs for Mix with the Working. Up next is Shiny and Sounds Ven. Word up?
Yes, all the words to the ups. Hey, check this out. You're watching the video. It looks all right. If you're listening to this on audio like most of you are, go check out the video. The first thing you're going to notice, wow, they pretty much took Nintendo's color palette for this entire game. Yes, they did. And everything down to the little hat on the boy with a shovel. And the way it runs and the smoke clouds behind it. Very Mario. Is like Nintendo might sue somebody for this. That's what I was thinking. Then come to find out this is on the Wii U. It was like they must have negotiated that out. I don't know how that happened. Is it fugly? No. It's kind of a lighthearted, cartoonish style. Not cel-shaded, but again, not fugly. Simplistic, runs well enough, looks well enough. It does have background music. No voice acting to speak of whatsoever. It's like Nintendo from N64 days, man. Not even the when you're reading the stuff. It's just silence, go with that. Background music, take it or leave it. I didn't pay it any attention. Put on some Slayer, as is tradition. Nothing really stood out, but my eye pussies were not bleeding after 4 hours into this game, so I can't give it 2. I guess I can give it a solid 3 and stand behind that.
Oh, yeah, no, the art style is a bit of all right. The monster design is going to be kind of cool. I like the looks of the Grus and little mechanical Lancy guys who have the shields. It's sort of a retro-futuristic anachronism type thing. And I'm into it. I like the past-future mashup stuff. I can't really think of anything that particularly stands out about the visual aesthetics, but they are consistent, and they are fairly well done. It kind of reminds me a bit of like a much prettier Ego Boo, if you've ever played that. It's the open source game. There are some noises. There is a soundtrack, although I can't really tell you anything particularly memorable about it. I also muted it and threw on some podcasts so I could play through it and endure some of the puzzles, but we'll get to that. But for Shiny and Sounds, it does get 40 chairs.
Yeah, no, the cartoony look, I did not hate it at all. The background music, on the other hand, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Some areas have a really awesome upbeat tune, but others just have generic adventurous music, which sounds like budget Jeremy Soule. And I can't help but feel, considering that some of the segments of the game are very dialogue heavy, and between the playable characters and some of the other NPCs, I can't help but feel like voice acting would have made the playable characters feel less like chess pieces and more like actual characters, assuming it be done properly, of course. This is, they went for a deliberately campy style of dialogue with a couple of the characters especially. So if they had gotten a really good voice actor or 4 to play the different characters and really go whole hog with the campiness, I think that it would have improved it a little bit. But as it stands, it gets 3 chairs.
All right, well, that's 3 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is Control. Then, can you point yourself in the right direction?
No, that is not possible. Well, what you do have is, this is definitely something. I'm holding up the X-Clone controller. These things over here for this game are clearly should be labeled suggestion buttons, because that's definitely what they are, Brad. Yes, they are. Unfortunately, the suggestions fall on deaf ears when you're forced to defend yourself in this game, or at any point in this game where more than one action might be required in the same 3-second period. It just can't handle that. It's spot luck whether or not things get registered. But that's not even the biggest issue we have with the controls in this game. No, nay. You see what they did? It's you're looking at it. it's kind of like, I think Maddie said, oh, it looks a little bit like a top-down budget Wind Waker Zelda game. Kinda. Yeah, I can definitely see that. But with that game, you could rotate the camera, pan around, in this 3D platformish type area. Can you do this? No. Nope. You just absolutely can't. You see, they've actually created a 3D adventure game without any sort of camera rotation. And that sounds like some sadistic shit I would come up with for Brick Simulator 2. Shadow of Mortar. Stay tuned for that later on. What the fuck, actually? You can pan up, down, left, right with the camera, but there's so many times... this would be a lot simpler if I could just rotate the camera. Even the Sega... The game on the PlayStation 2, you could Disgaea, whatever the hell it's called. The game Jordan plays 900 hours of. You could block rotate in 4 quadrants. This, nope, I don't understand. That's not being edgy. That's just bad game design for your controls. Outside of that, you can technically move. Sometimes the buttons work when you can press them. So that's not one chair. But damn, you're only getting 2.
Yeah, see, I like using this guy right here. This is the PlayStation 4 DualShock controller. I've grown to like it. It fits comfortably in my hands. It has buttons placed in the right area. The one thing I don't like is if you're hammering on the trigger button, sometimes it digs into your hand, but whatever. It does not work with Wordle to the West. No, sir. You can move around. You can pan the camera, and that's about it. And if you go into the remapping controller screen of lies, it says that you can... maybe remap your controls, but you can't. It does not stick at all, even if you save it. So that is not doing it any favors. Fortunately, I got my old... Well, I had that DualShock before.
Not anymore, you don't.
Not anymore. I got this Xbox controller here that I've had for years, and I've beat the crap out of, busted and reassembled it many, many a time. And everything worked. The control layout is proper fuck, though. The B button is your interaction button. A button is attack. The X button is something, depends on your character. And Y, just Y. Your left trigger will also cause you to run left. Or no, it was the right trigger that causes you to run right. That's what it was. And you think, oh, can you do that with the left trigger? Nope.
No. Well, your down D-pad causes you to run right, I think.
Yes, this is true. You think sometimes when you want to aim in this game, you want to switch to the D-pad just to get some precision. Nope, aiming in this game eats a big old bag of dicks. It will point you in some direction it thinks you're intending to go to, which is often the wrong direction, and will send you flying off a cliff. It would also be nice if the context-sensitive menus had a bit more margin of errors. There's this area where you have to ride on some frog monster. I didn't even realize you could do that until it was I was in the correct location in relation to the character. They didn't really imply this in the dialogue, or maybe they did. I kind of skipped past it. But yeah, that gets kind of annoying kind of quickly. There's also a definite delay between when you press a button and the action happening. So sometimes if you want to chain a specific set of actions, it fails miserably and you end up flying off a cliff and losing your little hearts. I mean, it's playable. It's not exactly busted, but you're going to be fighting with the controls constantly, and that's going to impact the next section, but we'll save that till then. 2 chairs.
Oh my fucking fuck. Seriously, what the hell happened? Now, the default mouse controls, if you want to use keyboard and mouse, you move the characters around Diablo style. You use the mouse, you put the little cursor where you want them to go, and you click. Or you hold down to click and you move the mouse about to get him to move around. So I thought, okay, that's a little bit odd, but hey, let's try the Steam controller. I tried the Steam controller, it wasn't bound. Like, it didn't respond. None of the buttons on my mistress here were bound to anything by default. So I started binding everything. It's fine. It eventually started working, and to its credit, it did an alright job. But I felt like, okay, so if you want to be precise, you kind of do have to use mouse and keyboard, so you can put that cursor, admittedly a very hard to see cursor, where you want the character to go. Until that also brought up another bug, which admittedly they fixed now, but until Friday, yesterday at the time of recording, if you use Naus's ice skating ability, it would just shoot you off in some random direction rather than where the cursor was, if you were playing with the mouse. Now, they fixed that, but the only way I had to work around it was to actually start playing with the Steam controller. What they didn't fix was the unresponsiveness that often got me killed, or at least had me taking stupid damage because the characters would outright ignore button presses. I get that they were going for a limited movement and obstacle traversing type of thing. Each area very dependent on the abilities that each character has. But the lack of jump in an exploration Metroidvania type isometric game doesn't really feel right. And with the unresponsive controls, it's even worse. And like Vin already mentioned, the not being allowed rotating the camera, it can get a bit annoying. So for controls, it gets 2 chairs.
All right. Well, that is 2 chairs for the controls section. Let's head on over to fun and bring this home. Ben, did you have fun playing World of the West?
Fuck no. I mean, hang on. Stay tuned for my mysterious reveal. You know what? This game really needs to, at very least, attempt to explain what and or why I'm doing something. You know, for an example, when I was typing this out, I was running around in a cave opening what you could best describe as like light plants. They just open up and they're full of shit that's not dark. No direction, and it just kind of drops you in a fucking hole. No idea why I need to open these things. Should I be opening them? Is there a count number for that, or do they need opening period? Is this a bad idea? Then again, you know, this is from the same company that decided to make a 3D platformer without the ability to jump. Fascinating, really. Brave, but genuinely a bad idea, because currently I'm 4 hours in. Not even done with the tutorial. Now, I know you're saying, but old man Vin, you're not a clever man. To which I'll say, I completely agree with that. But this has nothing to do with my cleverness. Pedro, 4 hours in, he still was not done with a fucking tutorial in this damn game.
It took me 6 of them.
Right. And check this out. Friday, I had nothing to do on Friday. Not really, but it was pretty damn close. Little as makes no difference. To do nothing more than just put some time into this game. Turns out, most of Friday, I ended up favoring the nothing over coming back and playing this little monstrosity. And again, you know, I've not reached the Avengers Assemble moment at those 4 hours where your first set of 2 characters, your second set of 2 characters, and whatever more characters keep coming on. And you know what? You should have just like tightened that shit up, son. There should be 4 hours in, and you're still trying to explain this shit to me. I don't know what the target demo was. You know, people like brain damaged emus with lysdexia, you know, on a meth bench that are blind. Maybe that was the learning curve you were going. I fucking understood every single thing about every single character in like 3 minutes flat. And again, not a clever man. Hell, you could have just cut this business down to like an hour with all of these characters and, you know, got the A-team together and add some story, make me give a fuck about what's going on versus just the endless wandering followed by solving the occasional puzzle, followed by more random wandering, which is still kind of followed by what you get the idea. That's what you're going to be doing. You know, I kind of just accidentally summarized the entirety of World to the West because that's the entire game. That's it. Okay, they're going to throw in a boss fight every now and then, but outside of that, you get your characters, you go run this character to the next totem pole, then you go, fuck, now I got to take this character to you do that 2 or 3 times. Hey, look, puzzle. Repeat. Yeah. Fuck this game. Sorry. Listen, you didn't do a bad job on it. You had some ideas. Doing something like this without the ability to jump. Maybe that was a good idea to start with, but the entire time you're playing something like this going, you know what? I could solve all of this bullshit if I could just jump. That would make me a much happier panda. But unfortunately, this did not deliver. And again, 4 hours. It takes us 4 hours to do a 1 hour show. Apparently, it's going to take you 30 to do a 3 hour game. So, 1 chair.
I mean, there is a good game in here. I like like the Double Fine game, the cave style puzzles where you need to make your dudes cooperate to progress. And like, yeah, I get the introduction thing where they're going for the Thimbleweed Park setup, where you get, or the sorcerer, where you see everyone sort of in their own isolated story, and it all sort of comes together later. I can appreciate that. What I don't like is the mindless backtracking, because when you start realizing, oh, hey, I need to unlock characters. Oh, hey, character X can do these things and can bypass these obstacles. When you start seeing them while exploring the game, you don't think, hey, I got a new area to explore. You think, oh, fuck, now I got to backtrack here and go through the entire freaking stage again and again and again and again. And yeah, the whole 6 hours for the tutorial thing. I get that some games have a slow burn, but dear lord, this game just drags its freaking heels. The controls don't do this game any favors either, because I just find it frustrating when it's like, I understand what I need to do. The difficulty from this game stems from the fact that you're either fighting the controls to accomplish what you set out to do, which is actually a relatively simple task, or you didn't go to that one corner of the map where there's that one raised platform that lets you do that thing that you need to do. And the maps look huge. Apparently you get some open world thing. I haven't gotten to that just yet. But it seems like it would be really cool to sort of be able to explore the entire thing Hollow Knight style. But you don't get that. But there's no jackwaying. You don't loop back around and find shortcuts. You open up passages for other characters so that you can do their puzzles in the area. And it's just not all that fun. I mean, there are some enjoyable bits. The different character abilities are fine. Some of them seem significantly more powerful than others. The Alexander Louise Armstrong dude just beats the ever-loving shit out of everything. And you can take over monsters with Miss Whippy dude. And you can use those to kill everyone. But all the monsters respawn. That's the other thing. You think you clear out an area. It's like, no, there needs to be some artificial difficulty here. So we're just going to keep spawning monsters until you solve the puzzle. I don't know if the game picked up the pace, if the controls were a lot tighter, and if there was actually some sense of like forward momentum, I would probably spend more time with the game than I have. I've dumped about 4.5 hours in there. I got to a boss fight and I'm just like, I just don't care anymore. I could figure this out and beat them, but I don't want to. I mean, this is supposed to be the indirect sequel to Teslagrad or whatever, and I never really played all that much of it, so there may be some value to playing these two games. I don't know. I'll give it 2 chairs. It's mediocre. It could have been really good, but it's just boring now in this current incarnation.
I honestly don't mind the fact that the game doesn't really tell you much in the way of what to do. Instead, it has a 6-hour-long tutorial until the mysterious old lady then basically tells you, now that you've learned all the necessary skills in order to progress the hard way, here's the big open world, and here's where you need to go to make the story happen. Do what you want, figure it out, I'm out. And this is a point where you will have to traverse the world, and while I do agree with Ven that this is very much a 3D platformer without a jumping ability, I also get what they were going for. As the indirect sequel to Teslagrad, and seeing as it was made by the exact same people, it retains the same Metroidvania unlocking skills to be able to progress style of gameplay, but handed to you in a different style. It's not a 2D platformer, it's an isometric 3D platformer. And even though there's no jumping, they doubled down on that decision and crafted the levels to be navigated with just the chess-B style abilities of each of the characters in mind. To be fair though, during that 6-hour tutorials, all of the areas I couldn't access with the 1 or 2 characters I had available at the time, none of those bits had anything that made me want to go back once I unlocked the full lineup. So that's a negative. You literally just created entire sections of maps that I can't be bothered with. The thing that saves this game, in my not-so-humble opinion, is the show, don't tell approach to letting you, the player, figure out how to make progress in the admittedly well-crafted puzzles. Because make no mistake, the platforming puzzles in World to the West get a whole new level of how the fuck do I get up there when you can't jump? But these puzzles are not obtuse. The game gives you everything you need to figure it out. It gives you the time you need to figure it out and just lets you fail miserably over and over so you can learn what you need to do. I could almost give it 4 chairs here weren't it for the fact that in those precision platforming bits, it simply didn't register the admittedly few needed key presses in order for me to progress. So, yeah, 3 chairs.
All right, well, that is 2 chairs for fun. If we tally all this up, World to the West gets 2 whole chairs, which is, I'm not sure if on the CHAIRQUISITION. If it's your bag, check it out. Gentlemen, final thoughts.
This was the studio's first attempt at 3D. They didn't do a bad job for first attempt, but this definitely needed to have baked. They needed somebody to walk in there and cut some shit out before they shipped it because it's just too stretched out. A lot of people, I do mean a lot of people, will probably never get to the open world bit because they don't have a 4+ hour time sink to get through the introduction of a game. That's just ridiculous. And I'm not talking about, oh, squirrel, can't deal with it. Listen, I'm 45 hours into Hollow Knight. And that's me. You know, I can sit down for 6 minutes at a time before I gotta do something. There's nothing in there for those 4 to 6 hours to really hold your attention other than, fuck, this thing's got so many bugs in it. And man, I really wish the controls worked. That would make it a lot less challenging.
Yeah, no, if you're going to remove my ability to jump in a game that screams platformer, you better go whole hog and do it right. And as far as the game mechanics themselves go, World to the West does it right. It just needs tighter controls, much tighter controls, and a generous coating of Bagon.
Y'all need to get yourself some SDL too, motherfuckers. It will make your control issues go away. And will actually make controller support really, really easy. So, coming up next, we pump up the volume, pump up the jam, and discuss the proper spelling of tires in the hate mail section.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this, no, I'm not gonna say it. This thing, what we just did, it's coming to an end. And thank you all very much if you stuck with us this far. What the hell's wrong with you? But hey, if you'd like to let us know what is wrong with us, you can do so by going to LinuxGameCast.com and filling out the forum. Just make sure to pick LGC Weekly from the little drop-downy thing, and you answer Van's CAPTCHA correctly. Because if you don't, well, we're not going to get your message. And if you're a game developer, make sure to send us 3 keys, or if you're trying to promote your Indiegogo, Kickstarter, what have you, make sure you have a demo, prototype, beta, alpha, whatever you want to call it. Because if we can't play your thing, we're not going to talk about your campaign, and chances are we're going to make fun of you. You don't want that. It's not pretty. So this week, the bit of hate mail came out just before the show because I checked the show notes earlier today and there was none.
And surprise, surprise, Pedro is wrong. This is from Tires, and he says, I installed Spin Tires with Wine and started messing about. Then I resumed the video at 38:55. Pedro tells me that Spin Tires doesn't even work in Wine. Hashtag fake news, hashtag alternative facts. Update, I'm now 6 hours into Spin Tires with Wine. And it's going just swimmingly. Smashingly, in fact. So,
yeah,
Pedro,
that's what we were talking about. It was like maybe 2 weeks ago, the Humbly Bundly that had that in there, and Pedro's like, "Oh, fuck this
Wild
game."
Bundle." Yeah, I was working off of outdated information because that game had already been on another bundle on another website. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll pick up this bundle and try to get that to work with Wine. But I went to the Wine HQ application database and I saw, oh, it's garbage, so it doesn't work yet. Turns out that was already deprecated because Wine now supports enough of DX11 to allow the game to work, although admittedly some of the textures are still big black squares in the middle of the screen. So hey, Yes, works is
No,
a technical.
BKM, don't worry, man. You definitely get the last laugh organ on that, because then Pedro spent 3 days straight. He was like, "Here's screenshots of a game I'm playing."
14 hours.
Right.
Shut up.
But what really perplexed me, I mean, it's not like one of your co-hosts is the Lutris developer would know.
Yeah. Strider was actually the first one to point it out when we were doing that. It's like, no, spent tires works just fine with wine, and admittedly it does, and you can just one-click install it with Lutris, so that's good.
Hashtag Pedro is wrong. Up next, this is from Linux.
So he says, I stuck with Ubuntu for a few years and officially hopped to the Ubuntu Mate this weekend. Gotta agree with Pedro. It's likely that I won't be going back. Lol.
So wait a
Freaking
minute.
operating system with a different desktop environment. God damn it! Ah!
Admittedly, Ubuntu Mate does have a few other tweaks that Ubuntu does not have. It's true for most of the official Ubuntu flavors. They all have specific tweaks that the developers decided to put in on top of the regular Ubuntu thing. Now, I know a few of the specific Ubuntu Mate tweaks because some of them were based on my suggestions that I made to Martin Wimpress, namely the default Compton configurations, which you should be using.
Did they patch any libraries? Are they using different utils? It's the same operating system.
I mean, you can make that argument about just, well, every single distro.
Which I do.
Hey, man, are you trying to tell me I don't have to change my operating system every time I want to change my desktop manager? What?
I mean,
You
you
have
can
to
do it, but that's because you're special.
You have to change distros whenever you want to change your wallpaper.
Listen. I wanted to upgrade my kernel, and I had to install an entirely new Linux. It's just unusable.
Okay. Last but not least, Monster Cameron, a good buddy, longtime friend. He's talking about that Serious Sam Fusion multiplayer we did Thursday. He's like, "Hey, Vin, you know what should also get normalized? The audio. Not sure why people pay you guys money. Hey, thanks for supporting us on Patreon, Monster. You know we love you." I went back and listened to it. First of all, normalized. You don't normalize is a plugin in Audacity that you should never fucking use, especially if you're recording an audio podcast. I've had to talk people down from those. Like, yes, we normalized the button. I was like, yeah, you're going to make it sound loud and punchy and flat as hell. Get your shit together. That's just a pro tip to anyone doing audio production. But I couldn't find anything wrong with the playthrough. Pedro, did you give it a listen? Did you say anything?
Oh, I saw all of it, the produced version, and it sounded fine.
Well, that wasn't the produced
Sure.
version. That was just the live stream version.
Yeah, it was a live stream.
Interestingly enough, then I was playing with Sharpie later that day.
Mhm.
Apparently, cutting off Vulkan fixes your Steam overlay issue because he was running into the same thing.
So that's a Vulkan issue. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Alt-Tab, and you were the only one that had... It was kind of fun back when I went back and rewatched it, because I genuinely thought you had locked yourself in a dark room. Turns out you were just running around the level, not being able to see anything, but...
Oh, yeah, straight up.
But yeah, no, it's normalizing the audio. It sounds great if you're driving in your car and you have a radio station on. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, your crappy car speakers are not going to be able to push much more than that. But if you have a proper sound system or a decent set of 7.1 surround stupid headset, yeah, why would you want normalized audio?
Because you hate yourself.
I genuinely don't get it, considering, I mean, we output the audio as... I mean, it's high rate mono, but you're getting mono from us, so... Oh, and by the way,
mono.
Well, you're getting mono.
LGC cares.
Shut up. You're getting mono from us, and you're only getting one channel of audio. So, I think on that bombshell, let's cue the music, because you can always find us around 9:30 Eastern Moon Time. I'm super serial about it. If I can get these other two yahoos, my fellow psychopaths, my partners in crime, to agree to it, we're going to be doing a early shows in next week. I don't know, not 100% on that, but Look for it at schedule at LinuxGameCast.com. Screw at me at Vinstone on the Twitter nets. I'll get back to you there. Or G+. Just plus Vinstone.
I'm Jordan Svung. You can find me not licking people and giving them mono at the burning pool on Twitter. Plus Jordan Svung on the Google Plus.
And I am totally okay with that early show. I mean, it's almost 6 frickin' a.m. here. I am Pedro Mateos. You can find me at Unaccounted For on Twitter or plus Pedro Mateos on Google Plus.
Just remember, kids, safety first. Don't lick everything in your office, but always lick the red stapler. LGC cares.
I put strychnine in the guacamole. Asked for no salt. No salt in my margarita.
Hey, if you want to get a nice boost to your immune system, just lick the doorknob. Do it.
Well, I mean, make sure they're brass doorknobs.
Pedro wants his knobs licked.
Lick those
Show
knobs.
title. All right, and scene.
Oh, yeah. That was definitely a scene.
You're a scene.
Shut
You're
up,
making a
scene.
scene.
Your mom's a scene.
I've never been called sir without it being followed by "you're making a scene."
I can go a lot of places with that I'm not.
5 dudes.